Beneath all the noise that Top Gun Maverick, KGF 2, Triple R, Vikram, Brahmastra and now Kantara have created, there are some movies that just maybe got lost. So hello and welcome back to the channel everyone. I hope you're doing fine. Another year is coming to an end, so it's time to talk about some of the most underrated movies of 2022. First movie on the list is an action hero directed by Anirudh Iyer. This year, all of us took the responsibility of just calling out Bollywood, making fun of Bollywood, just saying Bollywood is over, it's finished, Bollywood doesn't make good movies anymore. But when they do, no one goes to the theatre. We also called out Ayushmann for doing only these social message kind of films, but when he steps out of his comfort zone and does something unique, plays a grey character, an unlikable character, again, no one goes to the theatre. On one side, while watching Action Hero, I was having a ball. I was laughing at every one-liner, at every situation, at Jaideep Ahlawat's performance as this fed-up, pissed-off politician, and at how entertaining and meta this movie was. But on the other hand, it felt so sad to be among just 12 people in the audience. This movie didn't even get one negative review, but still, for some reason, no one went to watch it. It's partly going to be our fault if we only get to see sequels and remakes from Hindi cinema, because that is what producers are going to invest in if only those films are supported by the audience, instead of original, entertaining stories like this one. It's a smart, funny, entertaining, self-aware, self-parodying, and full of surprises film. You'll think that this film is about Bollywood, but it actually goes beyond that to become a snapshot of the times that we live in, the tragic funniness of the media, and the fickle-mindedness of the audience, which is us, the people of India. Plus, it's got great action and this banging soundtrack. My second pick on this list would be 13 Lives by Ron Howard. Sometimes reality is so strange and so scary that you don't really need to add anything else to make it engaging, to make it interesting. Just capture it as it is. People will get hooked to the narrative. One such film is 13 Lives, which is such an aptly straightforward take on the Thailand cave rescue mission from a few years ago, where 12 boys of a junior football team along with their coach get trapped in the Tham Luang cave, and how the rest of the world unites to rescue them. This is one of the stories that make you feel that no matter how bad you think the world is becoming, especially because of how social media is constantly shaping our outlook, despite all the negativity, after watching this film, you'll know that there are these good, kind, generous people out there in the world who are willing to even put their own lives at risk to save someone else. Go watch this film on Prime Video. It's a very clean, no-nonsense film. It's free of any kind of masala, but it's guaranteed to keep you hooked, to keep you engaged, and by the end, it'll leave you feeling uplifted, hopeful. Number 3 is Appan, directed by Maju, which represents two reasons why I really love Malayalam cinema. Their ability to tell rooted stories that happen around us and in our homes. And number 2, how they can pull this off with a shoestring budget and limited resources. The fact that they made this film within the 4 walls of a house and a rubber plantation behind the house without falling prey to monotony and boredom. It proves how strong the script is and how well the makers know their characters and how intricately they've designed those characters. Appan is a fearless film in so many aspects. To show a bedridden father with absolutely no redeeming qualities, to hold nothing back in terms of the things he says and the things that he does, to talk about issues that happen in a typical Indian home and the moral dilemmas that each member of the family faces but doesn't want to talk about, doesn't want to share with the world. Depending upon your upbringing and the kind of relationship that you had with your parents, Appan can make you feel either disgusted or comforted or grateful. But in every case, it's a very, very engaging, moving film that for some reason very few people decided to speak about. I made an entire video about Appan, which is right here. You can go watch it, check it out for yourself, and then go watch the film on Sony Live. Next pick is Badhai Do, directed by Harshvardhan Kulkarni. In a country of 1.3 billion people, what do you do when you feel different? What do you do when you feel alone? What if the feelings and thoughts that seem natural to you sound filthy, unnatural, shameful, and maybe even evil to the majority of the people? Whom do you talk to about these thoughts that you have? The state of mind that you're in when there is no one who seems to understand you? And to try to be understood, what are the changes that you make? What is the act that you put on to just try to fit into society? And if you still don't fit in, what do you do? To say that Badhai Do is just an LGBT film would be wrong, because it's so much more than that. While it's about LGBT characters at the center, it's actually about empathy. The empathy to listen to someone, the empathy to just stand by them, to show that you're with them, even though you might not understand them completely. Here is actually a very tender drama that doesn't pretend to be woke just for the sake of it. It's just a soft, wake-up call for a little more kindness. Plus, it's got Rajkumar Rao, who gives the performance of his lifetime, and Shiva Chadda, who's again killed it as probably one of the most unique mother characters that we've seen in a while, along with Gulshan Devaya, who just makes you fall in love with him even though he appears for just a few minutes in the second half. Next film is Ante Sundaraniki, directed by Vivek Atreya. Imagine after a long and tiring day at work, you come back home and there's someone to just sit you down, calm you down, and give you this hot cup of chai. It's the same cup of chai that you have every day, but the ginger, the elaichi, and most importantly, the warmth of the person giving you the chai has this incredible strength to just calm you down. Forget the office, forget the outside world and all of its problems, at least temporarily. Ante Sundaraniki is that magical cup of chai that takes the same ingredients of a rom-com and adds a new non-linear narrative, charming lead characters with this incredible chemistry, a few unbelievable situations between them, and a whole lot of warmth that you hardly get today in a sea of thrillers and mass masala macho action films. Next up is Jhund by Nagaraj Manjule. With respect to Hindi cinema, which is mostly glossy, apolitical, star-driven, lacks representation, and makes projects instead of telling stories, Jhund is like this rare diamond which has the mounting of a traditional Hindi film with a star like Amitabh Bachchan, but it has the spirit of a regional film. Fearless, energetic, unapologetic, and unpolished. The story of a sports coach reforming a bunch of unruly teenagers or young adults is not something that we've never seen before. It's not a unique story, but it's the context, the slum setting that makes it such an original film. For example, there's a wall that divides the slum and this very posh English medium school for rich kids. And the difference in these worlds and the transition from this world into that world is what makes the film rise above the template of an underdog sports film, even if the film uses a lot of template elements to tell its story. Yes, it could have been shorter, a lot of subplots could have been avoided, but other than that, Jhund is this uncut gem that got buried in Bollywood's dump yard this year. I was lucky to catch it in theaters, but if you didn't, it's streaming on ZEE5, and for 2 days, I'm going to put the dates here, it's going to be streaming for absolutely free. You don't need a subscription to watch it on ZEE5. Go check it out. My next pick is Sharmaji Namkeen by Hitesh Bhatia. Maybe this film is a lot closer to me because in some way I see my own mother in the main character. But if you've also had a parent that has worked for many years in the same company mostly and then got retired and doesn't know what to do with his or her own life anymore, you'll have so much to relate to Sharmaji Namkeen and you'll start seeing your own parents in a brand new light. It's a very sweet, very funny, little charming film which you can watch with the entire family. And I don't know if it happened before in cinema, but the same character has been played by two different people, by two different actors, Rishi Kapoor and Paresh Rawal, who play the same role, mainly because Rishi Kapoor passed away midway during the filming of this film, and the way that the makers have made the transition just look seamless is just Kadasi Vyavasai, directed by Manikandan. Simplistic, pure, funny, meditative, philosophical. These are all the adjectives that we'll normally use if we're watching some Iranian film or some foreign film, but for our own films, when one of our most gifted directors decides to tell the story of an old school farmer in a new world, not many people really care to go watch it or talk about it. That's okay, it's just the world that we live in. But if you have a free Sunday, get the family together, watch this film for just 20 minutes. And if you don't like it in the first 20 minutes, you don't have to watch it, but if you do, it's one of the few films that doesn't use farmers just as a brownie point, and it tells a beautiful story that will leave you feeling hopeful, much lighter, much more peaceful in the end. The second last film on this list, I know many people will not agree with this, but I think Lal Singh Chadda, directed by Advait Chandan, I think it's a film that really deserved a lot more love. I think we were all very unfair to it. Amir Khan's performance was a little off, it was difficult to get into, but once you do, there is so much more to love in this film. It's actually a very, very well done adaptation of Forrest Gump. Personally, one of my favorite films of all time. I never thought they could pull it off, but the way they've incorporated so many different elements, especially that Shah Rukh Khan sequence, I don't think we gave it a fair chance. And also, when was the last time you heard such a beautiful Hindi soundtrack? But anyways, the last film on my list is The Banshees of Inisherin, directed by Martin McDonagh. One of the most unique films of the year in every aspect. It takes off from such a simple conflict between two friends, which you don't even know what the conflict is exactly. And on the simple thread, Martin manages to extract this extremely funny tragedy, which is also an extremely sad comedy about male friendship and male loneliness. I've loved every single one of Martin's earlier films like Seven Psychopaths, In Bruges, Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. And apart from the last one, Martin has this gift of creating comedy out of the most unexpected, most bizarre situations. He creates comedy between just simple exchanges between two people, two characters, and he continues the same thing here. And to add to all of this, it's easily among the best looking films this year. Hotstar is full of such beautiful, underrated gems just hiding below the surface. Go watch it, come back, let me know what you thought of it. If there's one film that I'll recommend everyone to watch this year, it'll definitely be this one. So that was my list of the most underrated films of 2022. Let me know what should have made the list, what should not make this list. Let me know your favorites in the comments. But for now, thank you so much for watching and I'll see you next Friday. Wow.